Shot.
He's in so many foreign places over the last 2 days.
Toby?
Yeah, he keeps getting taken to places he's never been before. We're like, what is going on?
You got any topics that you'd be interested in talking about on the show?
I don't know. What's the show about?
Talking about shit.
It's pretty much just bullshitting, but we always talk about recovery at some point.
Unless it's like 90s schools closing.
90s school clothing?
90s school clothing, yeah.
Well, you wanted to talk about your whole gambit you have going with... Yeah, I like blowing smoke into the skull. It's pretty neat. I like it a lot.
Right.
But with your whole doing events with the VRC...
Right, yeah.
That seems pretty neat.
It is pretty exciting.
I was like fantasizing about it. I was like, we should start doing like rap shows and ciphering.
Absolutely. I think it would be cool to get some people in recovery together.
We should
clean the table.
We should do King of the Dot, and I'll be your first guest. Actually,
Yeah.
no, I'll be the like coked out white guy in the middle, being like, "Yo, on my left we have Josh."
Yeah, I'll be Bishop Brigante. It's like, bring that fucking mirror down.
When you're drunk as fuck and your homie starts rapping in your ear.
I saw that meme. I was like, so funny. And I was like, fuck you, Josh. You probably posted this because what I did in the truck.
No, you're actually good. You're actually good compared to a lot of people I've encountered. They're just like going off. They're like, and then I get the 9 and my dick in your clit. And I'm like, whoa, okay, dude.
Okay.
I don't even have a clit, so.
Yeah. You're not getting me off.
Yeah, but anyways, with the dance, I ended up organizing those 2 recovery dances at the Vancouver Recovery Club. And those were a huge success. So I wanted to build up my budget, so I'm running for activities with the program that I'm in. Are we allowed to say that? With the program that I'm in, which allots me like a $2,000 budget just for spending on activities.
Whose program is this?
This is my program, 12-step program.
This is Josh's program.
This is Josh's program.
So you're giving yourself $2,000 to spend on...
No, but I should.
I was like, wow, you're very nice to yourself.
Yeah, well, I didn't even think about that far ahead, but like if I work and then I get some money together, I'd be able to plan that out. And then sell tickets.
I like the dances that you put on. I feel kind of weird. I just feel weird at those events.
Because you're not fucked up.
That's very true. You really don't realize how much social lubricant like you had in the past.
Dude, it's like my motivation for getting up for work in the morning was all done by drugs. Like the whole career I had over the past 3 years doing construction was purely motivated by like what I'm going to be doing on a Friday or Saturday night.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like Friday would just be like a mad text day being like, okay, like let's get it set up, okay, get beers here, yeah.
Yeah, who's picking up what, where are we meeting?
Okay. You're getting the jugs and be like, no, I don't trust you, I'm gonna get my own bag just to make sure I'm good to go.
Absolutely.
You're so sober that you're fucked up on how sober you are.
That's it. I have been fucked up on how sober I am. I'm getting to like full obsession of like, oh, I gotta get this all done today. So I'm like frantically calling around to venues with my head cut off, being like, can we come in for a meeting? How much is this? How much is that? Blah, blah, blah. And then I go back to the group of guys who's gonna be like DJing and setting up sound. And then I'm like, oh, there's shit going on right now. They're like, dude, just like take a step back, plan this out, make it organized. It doesn't need to happen next month.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it could be any time in the next couple of months. Like, if you really want to make a big bang and make waves in the community, you gotta like put your time and effort into it, and people notice the quality, right?
That's true. I also think though that you can't get stunted by like trying to make it perfect off the bat.
Mm-hmm. Well, my other ones weren't. I was building those off with like a $50 budget for decorations and free DJs.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. These I want to make sure that I'm actually making compensating them properly for the effort that they're putting in, because if any of their equipment breaks at any time, how are they going to cover the cost of the equipment breaking? Like they'll willingly DJ for free, but the equipment is like their moneymaker, right? They do this for a living, and who am I to step in their way to that?
That's true. I thought the song selection at the St. Patrick's Day was a lot weaker than the first.
Because it's different if they're like, you know, this is something that they've worked up to. Like he said, I was like at the talent. I was at the talent show, and he was.
How
like,
was that?
Oh, it was amazing. Yeah, it was excellent.
Is it New West?
Yeah, up on I think it was like 8th Avenue or something like that.
Where they do that big meeting on Friday nights?
No, you know where Winners is?
No.
It's up the street from Winners. There's like a bowling zone, and then there's at the Heritage Hall in New West. It's a pretty nice venue. They got a little disco ball on the ceiling. Yeah.
What was the standout act? Anyone?
Standout act? Everybody.
Really?
Jordan was the one that won the best voice though.
What did he do?
He ended up just going up there with his keyboard by himself, doing like a cappella shit. It was pretty awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah, I can't remember what songs he did, but they were good.
So you have an event already kind of in the works here?
Absolutely, yeah. I'm like I was saying, I was talking to Bobby,
Who's Bobby?
the DJ.
From the
He's in charge of GQ Productions.
GQ?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And basically he said to me, he's like, if I had like time in advance and I was really excited for an event that was going on, I would probably make time in advance to like work on my set. But he doesn't he won't just unload his like set list on anybody. Like if it's not really, if it's like a free event or donated, you know, he's got to work his way up to it if it's something he's excited about. So if I'm paying him, it's probably going to be a lot better as opposed to like doing it for free. It's like, well, this is...
Yeah, you're like, I'll show up and I'll play some songs.
If it's their bread and butter, they're going to want to put more effort into it. Like they're doing what they love for a living, right?
It's even like true with like any work.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I'm doing it, like I've done shit work before, but I've been well paid, and I'm still like pretty happy about it.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, especially in situations where I've been doing been in like remote areas, like in the woods, but being like, okay, how much money would it take for me to be happy to do this shitty work? And then I like get the number, and then I'm like actually stoked to do it. But if I was getting underpaid, I'd be like, meh, this would suck.
Yeah, and then you just got Toby over here with Mac.
Are we filming? Should I be saying stuff?
You can say stuff if you want. I was kind of just gonna focus on Josh, and then.
Okay.
But since you're talking, yeah, what's up, Matt?
Just hanging out with my dog out here. Kind of got co-opted into babysitting this thing, and like a bunch of shit happened with my family recently, so I'm like.
Is it your family dog?
Yeah, it's my mom's dog, but she's been like all fucked up and shit. So I like came and picked it up from their house. It was like a messy situation, and I like took them out of there and like taking care of them now.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Sounds intense.
Yeah, she was like she's been like super sick, and my dad won't take care of him. So like the house was just a mess. He hadn't been fed. Like he's not gonna clean up any of the shit or anything like that. So I came up and like had to like do all this for them, and then like took him out, and I'm like this dog isn't living here if you guys are gonna like neglect it. So
Well, he might eat it if he's hungry enough.
he tried eating his puke the other morning.
Ew. Is that like that bad for a dog though?
No.
It's like sounds almost.
It's kind of polite, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. He just knows to clean up his own mess.
Right? Can't go wrong with that. And I was just talking about how he's like a little sociopath. Because he loves everybody, right? So this lady comes out and is like petting him, and she's like, I have dog treats inside. Can I give him a dog treat? She goes to walk away, and then he's like, all right, see you later, guys. I have a new friend. Just starts walking off with her.
It's not that he loves everyone. He just knows like, oh, this person's got something I want. See you later.
That's like perfect addict behavior.
Yeah.
Right?
He's so fluffy. He looks like he was a dog raised by a sheep or something.
You're just a sheep.
Yeah. It's like
Sheeple.
you'll never
He's
find
a
out
wolf
that I'm
among
a
sheep. Yeah. So I ended up calling up the venue.
Which one?
Beaumont, and it's like a bohemian.
On Maine?
Is it on Maine? I've never been there. I'm gonna go check it out. But it's like a bohemian style studio. They do lots of different arts and stuff like that there. And they said that we'd be welcome to go for a walk around next week between 9 to 5, so I can get a quote for financing. Then I can present that to the area committee when I run for activities, so that I can be allotted the money. And then I've also been trying to like put together a group of people to be part of my committee, so that I'm not doing it all by myself.
When you say run for activities, you mean you're like running for a position to run activities?
Yeah, to be the chairperson of activities for NA.
That's pretty exciting.
Yeah. Oh, I dropped that one.
Who are you running against?
Nobody's taken it for almost a year. Someone's
It's just open?
Someone dropped it, yeah. Like
Oh,
somebody
okay.
had it, they couldn't handle it, they dropped it, nobody's taking it up. So I'm like, well, I don't have enough clean time, but I'm gonna make some shit happen.
How much screen time are you supposed to have?
2 years.
2 years?
Because you're only able to handle money after being clean for 2 years.
Josh has a 4-year plan to take over every major service position.
Yeah.
I feel like the only person in the area meeting, like, okay, can we have the treasurer's report? Yeah, okay. So.
Yeah. Well, Dave's my treasurer because I can't do shit.
That's later. Just work your way up until you run
Right.
everything. That's how anything works, right?
Also being like H&I vice chair.
What's H&I?
H&I is hospitals and institutions. We basically just go talk to people that are in the institutions or hospitals about NA and how it's helped us. It's basically like,
I've never done a hospital meeting.
it's like recruiting sick people to
There's
be
some
part
good
of your
ones.
army.
There's one at BGH. It's on like the 13th floor, and you can see like the whole city out to the water, out to North Van. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard they're like pretty intense.
Well, it's a good way to pick up people who need help, right? Like I met a guy in there who he'd been in hospital. Like he was coming down from Prince Rupert or something. And he worked on the boats, and then he came down because he was super sick from like withdrawal and like a bunch of other shit that he caught. Like he was on like heavy antibiotics and stuff. And then I ended up sponsoring him for like 3 months, and he was like turned out to be a super solid guy. So it's like a good way to help people. He like didn't have housing and shit either. Like, you know, like people come to Vancouver for hospitalization and they can't get it other places, so they're like getting medical help, but they're like super detached from like housing and like family and like the people they know. Like, so it's like people like really need the help more than usual, I think.
It's also a really good way to start practicing how to talk about your story as well. Like when I went to one of the detoxes downtown, I ended up talking about that for like 10-15 minutes, and it was the longest show I've ever had. But then you can just see on people's faces, it's like I struck a note with that person.
Mm-hmm.
So you start off with like your whole life story, basically, you know, the ups and downs, and then you drop into like, this is how the program's helped me, and like it's changed my life, and people see that and they're like, maybe I want that too. And then they end up jumping over to like somebody's home group and then get a sponsor, and then they get their shit together, right?
People like that are super willing to. They'll like go through, like the guy I picked up in hospital, he didn't have housing for like whatever. Like the hospital has so many people coming through that they eventually just like set him up with like a fake housing plan. Essentially, they're like, oh yeah, go here, and then he left hospital and went there, and there's no room for him. Like they just had to do the paperwork so that it would look like they were able to put him somewhere, but they can't fill every person into a spot. So he ended up living on the downtown east side for like a month, and he was just like 30 days clean and like going to meetings every day and didn't fucking eat. Then he finally gets into Pacifica, and then 2 days into his treatment stay, he like fucked it up and like caused a bunch of shit. Like, dude, like you lived on the downtown east side for a month to get clean, and then finally get into treatment, and you just burn it all down. Like
Sometimes the changes, like, the changes can be pretty abrupt. Like we're not the type of people that just willingly accept changes as they happen. Like whether they're good or bad. Like I get fucked up when my life starts going good, and I'm like, well, I don't need any of these people. Fuck this. I'm gonna go get some freedom. Fucking end up at the beach, and then slowly my downhill slide happens. I don't know if it'll be like that if I were to relapse this time. I'll never know unless I do relapse, right? But like, it can happen pretty quick, or it can happen really slow. Like next thing you know, it's like jails, institutions, or death.
Yeah. The slip is really just, it's so natural. So natural to just get to a place where you're like 70% good,
Mm-hmm.
and then just be like, well, I can ride this out for a while.
Right.
Like I used to, like I was going to meetings every day, sometimes 2 a day, and now I go to my home group. That's it.
I don't think it's ever possible to be 100% good all the time. Like, you could be like 99.9% good, but then you're not going to kill like that 0.1% of bacteria.
Totally. Like the last, yeah, it's like sweeping a driveway. It's like getting all the needle, like getting 90% of the needles off, pretty easy. Getting the last 10% of the needles off is like fucking hard.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, and like the further you get into recovery, I feel like the harder the challenges get.
Mm-hmm.
Like initially, it takes a lot to get over that first hump, where you like have the physical drug cravings, and that's all your mind is consumed with, and you have all this free time, and you don't know what to do with it and like all your connections are there, and all the people you know are there, and there's a lot of just disconnect from families and stuff and from good people. But once you get some more positive connections in a social group, you feel like, I feel like you end up on your own a bit, even though like not on your own, but you have just more responsibility, more freedom, like you were saying.
The
more ability to fuck up.
The meetings give you the ability to rely on yourself eventually, but like being over year clean now, it's like I've physically been sober for a year, but now it's like this past like month or two has been just like emotionally like, I don't know what's gonna motivate me anymore. I've got all this good stuff going on in my life right now. I got the dances, I got service, I got step work, I got a really good sponsor, I got a job that's pretty chill, it's under the table, so I'm just making cash. And then my house is paid for by the government, but then I'm sitting there like having a hard time finding motivation to do any of it because I'm like sitting there like, well, like where's my reward for doing, like where's my reward? What, my brain's just like, you need more than what you have right now. But it's like, my life's fucking awesome.
It's funny how like addiction is like the disease of wanting more, but like we're saying, like as soon as we get anything, we just like burn it down, like you want more all the time, and yet you're like constantly abusing it and like throwing it out of your life as soon as you get it in your hands. Like
that's so
it's
true.
So whack. Like,
yeah, just like the guy you were telling us about.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, like we want it, then we get it, then we're like, it wasn't as sweet as we thought.
Totally.
Might as well jump off the second story.
Or you get something and it feels good, and then you just know it's going to be a lot better if you like abuse it and like consume it as fast as possible, and like that impulse is just stronger than like the desire to hold on to it, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then somebody was laying it out yesterday at a meeting. It's like your addiction's not going to like come up like in a nice pretty dress holding party balloons. It's like fucking stealthy as fuck, and it'll sneak up on you and then jump on you as soon as you start feeling good about something, and then it's like you destroy everything you love about that thing, and it becomes all consuming. You're obsessed about it, you become anxious, paranoid, you don't want to talk about it because you don't want anybody to stop you from enjoying that good thing.
It's so fucked up. I'm like today I was thinking, I was like fantasizing at work, so I was doing fucking brainless work, and I was thinking about like my family, cause I had a conversation with my sister last night, and she I talked to her, and she was like, oh yeah, the rest of the family is like wondering how you are and shit, and I was like, well, why don't they call? They're all like worried about you. Because like I like totally hid my addiction from all of them. Mm-hmm. Like none of them knew I was an addict. I was just like really not connected to them at all. Mm-hmm. My sister as well. It was like standard operating procedures for me to like talk to them like once every like 2 weeks or like once a month maybe.
Right.
On the phone.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, and then like just holidays. So it was really easy for me to like just like not let them see what I was going through. And then like at like 45 days I got honest with them and told them what was up. And now like they're all like scared to like talk to me. So they all like talk to me through my sister.
Right, they don't.
And I'm like, yeah, they're worried about you. I'm like, well, why don't they call me? And then they're like, well, they just don't really know. And then, but anyways, I was thinking about like 2 or 3 years down the road, and like how much of like a win it would be if like I got there in my sobriety, and then how much of like a fuck up it would be if I didn't.
Yeah, dude.
It was just such like it was like I was just like, oh man, it'd be so, like I was thinking of my brother and like his kids and stuff. I was like, yeah, they'll be like real people by that time. And then I was like, and if I don't make it, then it's just like I just went from like a beautiful thought to like the darkest thought.
Right. That's kind of like where like the prayer and meditation aspect comes in, because like I woke up one morning and it was like thinking about all the people that I knew that were using, and then I was thinking about all the people in the program who I made friends with and care about me, and then I was thinking about my family and like all this good stuff I've been doing in my life, and then I was like, but what if I picked up drugs? And somebody that was in the program, like, what if all the people in the program saw how bad I fucked up? How would that feel? And then I was like, and then I started crying. I was like, man, I really hope that nobody ever gets to see me use again. Ever. Like, my mom's seen me loaded, but I like slammed the door in her face because I was like fucking embarrassed about it.
Yeah. See ya.
Yeah. It was like, she's like, are you high right now? I was like, yep. Fucking.
Bye.
My house, see you later.
Fuck, that's wild, man.
Yeah, man. It's like, what would you do? Like, I'd be sitting there like, well, can't start over again, might as well keep using. Like, that's literally where my brain goes. That's what happened when I first had my first year. And then...
When was that?
Like 5 years ago.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, and then I went to treatment, got 3 months, and I was like, was doing good, because treatment centers make you feel like you have it. Like, they're really good at doing that, but then as soon as you lose your legs and you're out of that community, it's like, you're fucked.
It's a bunch of like external stability, though, is what it is.
That's
right? It's like you get 3 meals a day, you got a nice place to sleep, no one's going to take that away from you, and you're pretty certain of that.
Yeah.
But then when you're getting clean on your own, it's like all that shit is like, that could be pulled out from underneath you at any moment, and it's a lot more real, and it's like, okay, like the spiritual aspect is like significant as opposed to just like putting on a good face when you're around a bunch of other people, and that's all you need in order to like maintain those
And it's
things.
so like focused on recovery too. Did you go to treatment, Matt?
Yeah, I went to the door.
The which?
The door.
The door?
Yeah.
The last door.
The last door.
Yeah,
I love like names of meetings and of treatment centers and stuff.
Turning point.
Turning point. Addicts with New Hope. Lost and Found. Like they're also like.
Addicts with no dope. No, just kidding. Addicts with New Hope.
Yeah, so true.
What's another one? Cops and Robbers. It's actually like where criminals and retired police officers go.
What?
Yeah, it's at the hospital downtown.
That's like the peak of creativity and recovery.
Right?
Is
Isn't it?
naming your group.
It's like a mix between AA and NA too.
What?
Yeah, man. Somebody was telling me I should check it out, but I haven't been there, but we should.
Naming your group and developing the group structure too, because then you can do shit like that where it's like no one else is doing it in the, because there's like the basic rigid form, like okay, you do the readings, people share, and then you close with the serenity prayer or something like that. But like there's so many ways that you can adhere to the traditions of the program, but still like make it totally different than everyone else. It's like speaker meetings or like speaker meetings once a month or like all these different, like I showed up to the rooms being like, fuck, this is going to be the same thing every time. There's people sharing like, oh, back in my addiction and like, but you look a little closer and you realize like there's so much room for play as far as like, like making things interesting and like keeping it original instead of just having like the same person say the same thing every time, something like that.
Yeah, that's why I chose NA over AA. First of all, because
dogmatic or
yeah, that's what I thought, and too structured. And people were all like cunty about only being able to name alcohol, and it just felt like I was kind of like lying.
Yeah, it felt like that too, because like the certain treatment centers will adopt certain programs, like Central City Lodge is mostly like smart recovery. They're like focused on like the biophysical reaction that addiction has on you, and that's what they're educating you about. They want you to go to meetings and stuff like that, but that's not what they're promoting.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like you go to the Last Door, it's like they put their own spin on the NA program. They're doing house steps that are based off of the books, and they give you all the literature that you need to do that stuff. And then you go to TWC, it's like all AA. and they've made their house steps regarding that.
Which is like weird because most AA guys I know are all heroin addicts.
That's the thing. It's like I was at a meeting, at an AA meeting, like, I don't know, like 4 months ago now, and someone was like started talking about drugs and were like explicit about like, oh yeah, like, or like introduce himself as an addict or something. And then the next share after, some guy was like, or like interrupted his share or some shit and was like, you know, clarity statement, blah, 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 like kind of called him out for it. And the guy after that is like a home group member, who's been there for a while, got lots of clean time, like just ripped into the other guy. And he's like, you fucking asshole. This guy's trying to identify right now. You could scare him out of the room. Like, man, we're living in
that would scare me out of the rooms, period.
Seriously though, like, fuck, we're living in the middle of an overdose crisis. Like, it's not like fucking ex-army guys doing a bit of heroin anymore. It's like everyone's doing the shit, and if you don't talk about it at some place at some time, then people would just die, and like that's the reality, right?
That's so true.
It's funny you say that because I technically am a heroin addict without even meaning to be a heroin addict, because it was my drug of choice. I was like rampant, well, not heroin, but like opioid, because it had fentanyl in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So aren't we technically all like heroin addicts? Like, unless your like thing was like medical marijuana. Were you even recording?
No, I was.
Okay.
But you gotta like, it'll like delete the last, I don't know, it like goes up to a certain time and it stops. So I gotta like start it.
Right.
I remember I was thinking about this today actually. I was taking a shit thinking about this.
Right.
Food stuff.
Yeah. I remember I used to like say to my friends, it would, I'd be like, if someone offered me heroin, I'd do it.
Right.
I remember I used to say that to my friends to like intentionally to get into an argument with them, because they'd be like, no, that's fucked up, and I'd be like, no, it's not that fucked up. But I was like so in this zone with like me and all my friends who did drugs that it actually seemed like I could like lay down a really solid argument for being able to like try heroin. And I was like sitting on the toilet thinking about that, like, fuck, man.
But it's so true.
Glad.
It's true. You're not like, you know, like it's fucked up and it's like, whoa, like, but at the same time, like now we're in a place where like, you know, NA is like, doesn't matter what drug you did, like people come in for like media addiction or like whatever, and it's like the language is the same. So like in like challenging and like playing devil's advocate, being like, oh, like what's the difference between like this drug and a harder drug, is like, yeah, like to a certain degree, like you're just gonna, like maybe it's like more habit forming or something, but it's like you're still just getting fucked up and like, you know, like indulging in self-delusion and like all the same shit. Like it's just a different substance and a different way of doing it. And like,
you know what, rolling back into like the dance topic, like I like the fact that you can just have events like that and be insane and delusional and weird, and like you can just be the fucking weirdest person and still have a great time, and people enjoy your company at places like that. You know, that's kind of why I went to like shows in the first place, like in my addiction. But like I was in love with electronic music before that, but like it's like a place where people congregate and people can just be freaks. You know, and it's okay.
yeah, it's so
it doesn't matter. Like you can have, like it makes it more fun when you see someone being weird on the dance floor, and like then you're like, wait a sec, this guy's being weird. I want to get involved and just start being weird yourself.
Totally, there's like a one-upmanship to it.
Yeah, but it's like it's all positive, right? You're just building off of each other the whole time, and that's like the kind of environment that I'm trying to like accomplish. Because that having that unity and like the ability to have fun in your recovery is like a major platform for why I stay clean.
Totally.
Like that is the solution, like 100%. Like if you don't have those connections with people, like you basically just might as well commit suicide. You know what I mean?
I think you're right though. Recovery has to eventually be fun, and it has to eventually have a lot of upsides. It has to be something you can build on.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like what you're doing. Like hopefully that this turns into some sort of, you know, passion. You get some money going for it, and you start throwing NA events, and then
like eventually I'd like to go solo with my own company, and then have recovery dances, not just specifically for NA, but like all the people in recovery, like, you know, all the anonymouses together. You know, that would be like my major.
All the anonymouses.
Yeah, dude.
Anonymous.
Have like a secret group, have a music festival that's a private event. Tickets aren't available to the general public. People are walking by and they're like, what the hell is this? And it's like, sorry, we can't tell you. Like, you know.
It's just exclusive.
Yeah, it's exclusive. It's a private party. Like, you get to be part of this fucking cool club, meet people, learn skills, and all totally for free. Or literally at your own contribution, like whatever you can afford, right? That's my end game. That's like...
That would be tight. I like having that big vision. Is there any like famous like recovery artists? Like I know there's fucking...
Sure.
You know, most artists go through recovery, I guess.
Eminem, Steven Tyler.
They're not like...
The guy from Aerosmith, what's his name?
Yeah, Steven Tyler.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, he's an AA, and
he came here not too long ago. To, like he was like sharing a meeting or something. My buddy's like sitting in an AA room and like starts sharing.
Who's the guy that plays Bane in Batman?
Bane?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's one of my least favorite Batmans. That movie, to be honest.
He's also in Bronson.
Are you thinking of Tom? No.
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy.
Buddy, he's an AA.
Tom Hardy?
He's in an exclusive, private, invite-only AA group in London.
Invite only?
Invite only. It's for
like
celebrities.
Famous people? So
Yeah.
They don't get like outed?
Yeah, because people don't want to be bothered by like fans at meetings and stuff like that, you know? Like, I'm sure it's great, but like...
I heard the guy who plays Dwight Schrute on The Office was like in the Vancouver AA scene.
Right? There's tons of people. I think, what was his name? Joel Santana?
Rapper.
I don't know who that is.
He's actually a guitar player.
Oh.
Yeah. Played the song Maria Maria.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, he's an AA. Yeah, there's tons of celebrities. I intend to be one of them. Like, full intention.
But I mean, like,
they'll be hosting their parties, you know?
Buddy, that's exactly what I'm thinking. Like, you know, you got... Oh, there's even... who's that guy? He's got the fucking swiped over blonde hair, did thrift shop. Macklemore. That's another great guy. I think...
I guess you're right, but I'm thinking of, like, a straight up, like, only recovery artist. Does that exist?
Sure.
It's a niche, though. It's like...
It's a niche.
It's hard to be in Hollywood. And
you can discover those people. That's why I'm like, you know, I want to get my own entertainment thing going, and then like maybe I can have a record label that promotes these artists, you know, to the general public. Like there's like if you went to the talent show, there is some insane vocalists and artists in that. Like my friend Samantha was playing guitar and like she was opening for everybody and it was just unreal. You're just listening to her soloing and she didn't even write anything down. She just improvised the whole thing and I was mind blown. You know, stuff like that. It's just like we could have some serious recovery Woodstock without the LSD.
I feel like because of like the stigma that still exists around addiction, a lot of the time it's not like a bi-directional thing where you can like be an artist who's like already in recovery and then become popular off that and have that as like the main thing in front of you. Like I know like Eminem and like other guys like that and like Macklemore is like the idea of recovery is implicit in a lot of their music after they clean up, but they've already developed an image based on like, you know, something other than that. Like just because recovery is like, you know, only 10% of the population or something, it's got to be like more public than that.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
I want to bypass
know,
that.
Like someone who has like who was like not famous, went into recovery, and then like
became
something
famous.
off that, right?
Like was just like no one knew who he was, but they were like, oh yeah, like the recovery rapper, that guy.
That's gonna be me. No, I'm just kidding.
I think that takes a lot more like in a way. It's a lot more raw than going the other way around. Like I don't know, because you get to come up if you like already have it, then you can like use drugs casually and be like a normie in popular culture, and then if it's too much, okay, then you go back to it. But if you're on the outside, if you're part of the out group from the start, and you're still like trying to do something where you're attracting everyone despite not having that like base level of like, oh, I like to party too, and like that's like how people in Western society connect is like, oh, you party, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's so true. It would be insanely hard to like groundwork it.
Like you see
without, like
I would
getting party culture to prop you up initially.
Yeah.
Right. That's why I want to create a way to bypass it through doing recovery. You know, that's like the whole idea of my company is so that people like congregate under this label, and then, you know, it starts getting bigger and bigger, and people are like, wait a sec, this is becoming cool, like maybe we should stay sober so that we can go to stuff like this. And then they like because people try and like, you know, people are totally looking for the next new thing, that they'll go out of their way to explore the different avenues to try and get to where that is, you know, and that's another way that we can spread the message and like end up connecting with addicts that are still suffering, people who don't even know that they're suffering.
That's so true, because I realized this at my buddy's birthday dinner last weekend. And it's like all people that I used to drink with and I used to do drugs with. And it's like, I'd say
That's enough, Toby.
maybe like a couple of them are like using successfully, but at least 3 of them are like addicts. Like so many people I know are addicts.
But who are we to put that label on them? They have to figure that out for themselves.
Totally, but like there totally should be something like what percentage, like so much of the general population suffers from like alcoholism and like drug addiction. It's like fucked up. And so many people will just like never even like consider stopping doing what they're doing. It's almost like realizing you're an addict is such a blessing in a way, because you can actually be like, okay, like if I wasn't a guy that took it as far as I did, I would probably just like, if I could have kept it at like a 5,
Yeah.
and like it would be so bad for me because I would have just kept it at a 5 forever. But I was always a guy that took it to fucking 10.
Oh yeah, that's...
And like that's even almost better, because when I get to 10, I can be like, okay, eventually going to 10 so many times, maybe be like, okay,
let's go to fucking 11!
Yeah.
Here we go!
like, I can only be at 0.
Yeah, 11 for me was like in my basement by myself.
Oh yeah, that's where it always ends up.
Yeah, wait a second, that's the same as 1, except there's 2 ones.
Yeah. Fuck. But yeah, it's like, you know, we need to make like getting sober the new like, you know, like tattoos for people, you know, everyone's got them.
Right, yeah. Like someone getting just for today and like backwards so that when they see it in the mirror it reads just for today.
Oh really?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, she hates it.
But like traditionally, the way society is structured is like, it's like when it comes to addiction, it's about like revulsion and like, oh, I'm not as bad as he is. It's totally like an ego thing, you know what I mean?
Fuck,
where
totally.
it's automatically like, oh, okay, like, you know, like you start to think you have a problem, and then you wind up somewhere where someone's a lot worse than you are, and like it spooks you, and the whole like being scared that someone else is so fucked up is good. But then it's like, okay, like I'm in the in group, that person's in the out group, I'm okay, and that's what helps you move forward. It's kind of sick, as opposed to being like, okay, like that person is gonna do what they're gonna do, and I have my baseline, and I'm not gonna cross that because that's who I am. Is like a lot like more based on like self-esteem and like, you know, like mutual respect for other people, as opposed to just being like, you know, like I'm the shit and like fuck that guy.
We need to bust into that wall like the Kool-Aid Man and be like, yo, we've got way cooler shit going on. Check it out. There's no alcohol in this.
Yeah, could you imagine like a situation where people are like stopping and you're like out and someone's doing drugs and you guys are like, that's not cool, man.
Yeah.
Like you're like getting shunned for actually like being like doing drugs.
Absolutely.
I mean, like you shouldn't be getting shunned, but being like the most people in the general population weren't doing drugs, weren't like complicit in alcohol abuse. Because that's the thing with booze too. People are like, oh, it's legal, so
right. The most of the time when
I
people
can drink every night, it's no big deal.
Yeah, when I jumped on board for drugs, it was like questioning, like it was a lot of like inadequacy going on and like insecurity and being like, well, like I missed out on all this shit because of like, you know, people, places, and things. But now I can get involved because of people and places and things. These are all questions that come up in your mind and cause self-doubt. So if you start doubting your drug use and like see all these people who are like, man, using drugs really isn't cool anymore. It's like
It's really not. Like, I even realized it when I was at that dinner that I told you about, like, on the weekend. Like, I don't even enjoy it anymore, going out with them. Like, they all just, like, sit there and drink.
right.
And, like, kind of, like, piddle at some food and, like, shit. It's, like, not even a good time anymore. I honestly don't enjoy that anymore. I've done it, like, 4 times.
Like, witness the defects as they happen, whereas, like,
Oh,
you
it's
know,
so gross.
it's like too hard to, like, turn a blind eye to, whereas before you like, okay, compromise my values a little bit, like, I need to be part of this group.
Yeah,
now
give me
you're just
another beer, it's okay. Like,
Yeah, I always thought it was cool to be the most fucked up guy at the party, but then it becomes embarrassing, and you don't even know. Like, I want to have a great time, and you just like want to go full tilt. And it's like, Josh, we're just having a couple drinks. It's a cocktail party, man.
yeah, I'll be like, fuck you, pussies, and drink like 6 beers.
Yeah, and then I get super wild at this like chill event, and then people are like, don't even want to be near me because it's like, what's the fuck's going on? And somebody shits on my party, and I just get fucking angry. Super aggro, hate everybody at the party. Fuck it, I'm gonna leave and go do drugs by myself.
Another big thing I used to always do is like compare myself to someone who was like just slightly more of an addict than me. Like, I'd be like, well, I'm not as like, I'd be like doing drugs with him and be like we're both there, like just like sniffing up an 8-ball, like we can't even believe it. And I'd be like, he's the addict, I'm not.
Yeah, because he's that guy's like wants way more than I do.
Yeah.
Right
the mistake of like equating like being more loaded with like less human. So, like, you know, like if you're like walking down the street sober and then you see a loaded guy and it's like, oh, look at that fucking creature, you know?
Yeah.
As opposed to being like, oh, like I bet he's got a family or some shit like that. Like the things that unite us all on a base level, as far as like, oh, he's got to fucking eat and take a shit when he wakes up in the morning, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's like it boils down to like oh, he's got like no finances, or he's got fucking pock marks because he's been using dope and like all this shit. And it's like that's like it doesn't like separate you. You're not, you know, like something above him. I mean, maybe socially, yeah, but like you're at the end of the day, you both turn into fucking dirt and like get buried at some point, right?
Yeah.
Ultimately, your judgment of another person is another sign of complacency in your own life.
Yeah.
It's like your dissatisfaction with where somebody else is at is just a matter of dissatisfaction where you're at, rather than being like, my life is really good, I might be able to help this person because I have so much privilege as a result of my recovery.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not like that unless you're really working a good program, which I'm guilty of. In the past few days, it's been like that, where I'm like looking at other people, becoming intolerant of new guys, like just stuff like that. And it's me
being intolerant,
just being super degenerative, man. Like, yeah, if you can't tolerate a new guy, it's like something's clearly fucking wrong with you. Like, that guy is trying, like, fighting for his fucking life. Like,
And more experience like doesn't really change that, you know? Like, I found like going to more meetings, like the more fucking recovery you do, the higher chance you are of meeting someone who's going to be even more fucked up than the last guy you judged. And if you're always comparing yourself to that next most fucked up guy, then like there's no out, right?
One thing I do to humble myself is I'll like straight out say out in the open that I'm not exempt from any of the struggles that anyone experiences at any given time. Because at any second, I could just fucking like start obsessing about my friend's dad's goldfish that died. You know, it's just like stupid shit like that. And you might think it's stupid now, but next thing you know, you're fucking freaking out about it.
Totally.
And then it's like, oh, I gotta, like, maybe I should just reach out to that guy because he gets it.
Yeah. And like when I wasn't in the program, I'd always be like, oh, that guy's more of an addict than me. Oh, that guy smokes cigarettes. He's worse than me. I only like, you know, do this and that. And then like when I entered the program was like when I asked for help finally was the moment that I realized that I will be that guy that I'm different than. I'll be like, no, I am that guy. It's like, if I keep going where I'm going, I will burn everything in my life down to nothing, and I'll be on the street.
Yeah.
And then I was like able to actually empathize with like the lowest of the low form of any kind of addict. I saw that within myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, holy fuck. Like, that is me.
Yeah.
When I'm on drugs, that is me. I just, you know, am in a better financial situation right now that I didn't end up on the street.
It's like this.
But if I was, like, almost broke, That's exactly what I'd be.
Yeah. I was like, I was downtown with some people doing leaflets for that, for the recovery club, because we were protesting the grant being taken away, and I saw a guy that I knew downtown using drugs, and he was loading his rig up with my drug of choice, and I was sitting there, I was watching him, and I could just feel my brain just being like drooling over this guy, and they're not even paying attention to what I'm doing. My friends are just down the street, and I'm thinking to myself, and then all of a sudden it dawns on me, like, where he's at, what he looks like, what he's doing right now. And I'm like, holy shit, like this could just as easily be me. Just as easily. Like I was almost there when I like got clean a couple of years ago. And, you know, thankfully I didn't go there this time when I got before I got clean. But I will. It's a very valid option, you know, thinking that I could like stretch my dope out by finding a different method of using, but then it ends up turning into like a more expensive habit, and you're like, once you get past certain points, it's just like you become willing to do more shit that's more degrading and makes you feel like even more of a fucking...
Oh, yeah. Set the line, cross it. Okay, well, I won't cross that line. Cross it. Okay, well, I won't cross that line. Cross it.
Yeah, and you're just on autopilot the whole fucking time, watching yourself do it.
I used to take pride in my autopilot.
Oh, yeah.
I used to be like, God, I always end up back in my bed, just laying there.
Yeah.
Best autopilot in the game.
Until your bed's gone and it's an alleyway. Yeah.
Fuck.
I actually, it's funny, I went straight there from being first time I tried hard drugs, I was out of the house and I started sleeping outside on fucking cardboard boxes because I was like, fuck you guys, I'll make it on my own, start from the bottom and then I'll work my way up. That's literally what I had planned. Literally my whole plan was to do that, and I like slept outside.
It seems like a almost like noble thing to do.
Right? And then
I will burn myself down and prove to all of you that I can restart at the bottom and still make it.
Yeah.
I totally get what you're saying.
It's fucking like a kill switch.
Yeah. Like, watch it. I'm gonna fuck my entire life up, and then I'm gonna beat it.
Goodbye
Sometimes
to all
I think that's why I got addicted to drugs in the first. Like, I wasn't an addict. Like, I had to try to get addicted to drugs.
You know what? It's funny you say that because I kind of did.
Yeah. I tried. I was like, fuck. I was like, I can. Addiction?
Yeah, I won't get it.
Not me.
Yeah. That idea
So
turns
cocky.
into denial really quick.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, oh, I don't have a problem. Whatever. Yeah, see, I can handle my shit. You guys can't handle your shit. Look, I'll give you like all of these drugs just to prove that you can't handle it.
Yeah, 2 a.m. on a fucking Monday.
Yeah.
Looking over your shoulder, walking down the street to the corner store.
I'd get fucked up with other people.
Cigarettes.
Yeah, just to justify that I wasn't as bad. Yeah.
Exactly. You get fucked up with an addict, you know, that was just a little more fucked up than you.
Yeah.
Just a little deeper in the hole. And it's so funny because you're always like 3 levels deeper than you believe you are.
You're an addict because you can handle your shit.
It's weird though. I was always a guy who couldn't handle my shit. Like, even drinking wise, like in university when I first started like drinking hard, like binge drinking, I would like binge drink at a party, and the next day I would be just like destroyed. Like, my hangover would be terrible. I would like never want to drink again. And then like all my buddies would like get up and be in like good moods and be like, let's go drinking again. And I'd be like, are you serious, boys? Like, what the and then I would do it.
And then you do it, you start feeling better, you're like, fuck yes!
Yeah. And then I'd get the most drunk and it was fucked.
I was like, the most proud accomplishment I had in my addiction wasn't like job, wasn't like any of the good stuff I had going on, because I was making a lot of money. And I had a place to live, I had a girlfriend, and it wasn't that I was proud of. I was proud of the fact that I could chug a 6-pack faster than anybody else. Mm-hmm. You know, it was like, oh, watch me shotgun this in like 2 seconds. Look at that. And everyone's like, you're disgusting.
Yeah.
You're literally a disgusting human being for that.
I took personal pride in like, because when you start putting effort, like you guys are talking, when you start putting effort into being an addict and like making like being fucked up the primary goal, like I was at the beginning when you make that decision, like myself, I was around a lot of other people who like still had shit going, where like getting fucked up was like something they do on the weekend and was like subsidiary, like, you know, like secondary to being like, oh, I'm gonna go out and hang out with friends and socialize, and when I wake up and I'm gonna go back to work, it's like I took pride in erasing those differences, like those visual differences where like I'd go get fucked up and the whole time I'm like sitting there like beside someone who's got shit going on in their life and I'm like bullshitting like I have it, but like I'm still just there getting fucked up, and like my ego comes from like, you don't even know what's going on right now, like I'm getting so loaded and you're just associating with a completely wrong person. You're a fucking idiot. I'm like in the middle of burning my life down. I got nothing going. The next morning I'm gonna wake up all fucking depressed. But yeah, like I got the one up on this guy because he's like delusional, thinking I'm a good person and like safe to be around. You know.
I tricked this guy.
Yeah.
I'm showing him.
Yeah, or that like, oh, don't worry, everybody, I'll help you find your money that I stole. Oh, maybe it's under this couch cushion where I found
That's
it.
what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking in your pocket.
Yeah. Yeah. Like and subscribe.
All right.